Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here, and have I got a treat for you today? I'm in the northwest of the country, in the autonomous community of Galicia, in the town of Ourense, and we're going to go and check this city out. We'll have a look at some of the tourist sites. We'll also see if this is a city that you should be thinking about if you're planning a move to Spain. So let's start. Now we'll get a look at some of the architecture here, the layout of the city. I'm going to say straight up that it's quite early in the morning. It's before 8 a.m. so a lot of people not up yet. This is a city that wouldn't come alive until around 10 a.m. It's a provincial capital, meaning that a lot of people work in services, and the services in question don't normally open until around 10 a.m. So that's why we're not going to see a lot of people on the streets at the moment. But of course, you're always going to get a few early birds who have got up early and are having their breakfast. Now we'll check out some of the real estate here, look at some of the prices. As we can see there, this apartment, 420,000 euros, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 180 square meters, and you've also got a garage. Cheap or expensive for property? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you pay that price for something in this town? What I'm going to say is that the general cost of living here in Ourense is reasonably good, but I'll talk about that throughout the video. Now you have to love a statue, and here in Spain statues are everywhere, and of course in Ourense we have statues like this one that I have behind me here. Not sure exactly what it is, what it represents, what the symbolism of it is. We'll see if we can find out, but it's a fairly big statue, and it seems to be an old man walking with a walking stick. There we go. I wonder if there's any meaning behind it. Here we go. This monument was inaugurated on the day of the Letras Galegas, which basically means, I think, that it has something to do with the Galician language, which is also something that I'm going to talk about. But for the time being, I'm just going to sit down here on this bench and take in the statue. Time to move on. Y todo recto, ¿verdad?
Sigue recto y por ahí, si vas por ahí a la izquierda, por esta calle que tú estás ahí a la izquierda.
See. Now, one thing that I love about these smaller provincial towns here in Spain, and this is a provincial capital. There's a province with the same name, Ourense, Ourense province, Ourense city. People are very, very friendly. You ask for directions, people go out of their way to tell you exactly where you need to go. Of course, not everyone, but the majority of people in cities like this are very, very friendly. Check out the views down here, and you can get an idea that the city here is surrounded by hills and forests. But it's a hilly city, and that is something that you're going to have to take into consideration as well, because the hills go down to where the river is, and that's something that we're going to see a little bit later on in the video as well. And then you've got to get back up to where all the action is in the city. Now, as you would expect, this being the northwest of the country, we're in green Spain. Everything around here is green. It rains quite a lot, and you have fantastic parks like this one that we have here also, where locals would come and sit down of an afternoon or of a morning and take in the sights, maybe have a drink from one of the many bars and restaurants that we have here. That's something also that I like about the city. Lots and lots of variety when it comes to bars and restaurants. And of course, here in Galicia, food is second to none. And we had a great meal yesterday, but I knew we were going to eat well in this part of the country because, as I said, Galician cuisine, one of the better cuisines in the entire country of Spain. And restaurants like this one behind me here, putting out good cuisine, I reckon. We'll have a look at some of the prices when we walk past some of the restaurants, but we're going to head down to the old part of the city and check it out because it's one of the main tourist attractions here in Ourense. But look at this park, a concrete part, however, but I'm sure, as I said before, the locals would come here of an afternoon, sit down and relax and enjoy the fine summer weather. All right, so we're starting to get into monument territory here in Ourense. But I'm going to say straight up that this is not a city that is packed full of monuments. Here in Spain, you go to some cities, there are monuments everywhere. Yeah, you've got a cathedral here, but apart from that, there's not a lot going on as far as monuments are concerned, I don't think, or at least that is what I have read. But I don't care, because I'm not here to spend my day looking at monuments. I'm trying to get a feel for the city, and I reckon with places like this one here, which is called Pulpo y Churrasco, I reckon this restaurant here would be an absolute treat to eat at, and this is the experience that I want to get here in Ourense. Check this place out. Imagine sitting in there on a warm summer's evening and trying some of the fantastic octopus and barbecue that this city is famous for. Pulpo and churrasco. And it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to show you guys something that I never travel without nowadays. It is my Level 8 Hedgent 20-inch carry-on suitcase, and I'm going to say I am impressed by this particular suitcase, and here's why. This 20-inch suitcase is designed for travelers who don't want to sacrifice durability or style, and let me tell you, Spain's cobblestone streets are no joke, but thanks to the ultra smooth 360 spinner wheels, this bag glides like a dream, even over rough terrain. It's a light suitcase, but it's a tough suitcase, and this polycarbonate shell protects my gear wherever I go, whether I'm traveling on a plane, traveling on a train, or just traveling by car around Spain. Inside, it's all about organization. You've got 2 spacious compartments, compression panels, and a water-resistant pouch to keep everything neat and tidy. So I'm never scrambling to find that one charger or clean shirt. And yes, it fits easily into overhead compartments on flights and Spain's AVE high-speed trains, which is a huge win for anyone planning to travel around the country. And whether you're visiting a city here in Spain for the weekend or slow traveling through the whole country, this Level 8 Hedgent carry-on case is built for the journey. Now, if you want to get your hands on a case like this, there is a link in the description section below. Use the special code and get a 10% discount off your purchase. And by the way, currently Level 8 has an anniversary sale on where you'll get an extra 20% off your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and take advantage of the special offer. So thanks Level 8 for sponsoring this video, and believe me, this is a good and sturdy case. Back to the video. Now I'm starting to head into the old part of the city, the Casco Antigua, if you like. It might be called something different in the local language here, the Galician language. But when you start to see graffiti everywhere, you know you're getting into the old part of the town. And let's be honest, there's graffiti everywhere here. Graffiti there, graffiti there, graffiti there, graffiti everywhere. And the Casco Antigua, as the name suggests, is the old part of the city where you get these old buildings, businesses that have been around for a long time, lots of pubs, lots of nightlife activity here as well. This is where the young people come to of an evening, get drunk and then start spraying the walls. Often you'll smell a lot of urine around these places as well, because people just go to the toilets in the street. But as you can see here, no edifice is respected when it comes to graffiti. I remember I went last year or maybe the year before to another city here in Galicia called Pontevedra, and the graffiti issue there was terrible, and from what I'm seeing here, it's a fairly similar vibe. All of these narrow streets, empty at the moment, but as I said, come here at 10 o'clock in the evening or even earlier and this would be absolutely packed full of people. And then of course in the morning the cleaners come, wash everything down, get rid of all of those funny smells, all of the broken glass and everything that would be left here during the evening, and try to make it respectable again. I remember coming here around 20 years ago. I had a friend who was working in the city of Ourense, and I remember going to these bars, going on what they call here a tapas crawl or a pub crawl. You go from one bar to the other because they're all next to each other. You have a drink in one place, you have something to eat in the same place, and then you move on. And that's the nightlife vibe in cities like this here in the old part of the city. Because because you've got a bar there, you've got a bar here, another bar there, another bar there. And if you don't watch out, by the end of the night, you can be absolutely smashed. Now, here's what I was talking about, the street cleaners with the hoses washing down everything here. You can see the water coming down the steps there. I can hear the hoses up there. Let's go and check it out. Let's go and see what the council workers are doing. And this would be a daily event here, coming in to the part of the city here, getting out the hoses and washing everything down, and away goes the water. Let's see if we can find the truck. Here it comes, we're getting close. Look at all the water cascading down there. There we go. And there we go. Those guys would be here, as I said, every day of the week. Because if not, these streets would be pretty rank. So these guys do a fantastic job. So I found the cathedral. There are my street cleaning friends up there again, busy on the hose. Powerful hose, I will say. But the cathedral is just down here apparently. So let's go and see if we can check out what is said to be the most important monument in this city here, the city of Ourense. More places selling octopus, which is the local specialty, pulpo. Now let's go for a walk down this street here, being careful of course with the pavement. It's a little bit uneven, some of the pavement here, but what do you expect with such old pavement? Been here for centuries and centuries, no doubt. Probably been repaired over the years, don't know. More street cleaners coming up the hill here. And what do we got here? Is this the cathedral? I don't know, but it looks to be a very impressive building nonetheless. There's another very impressive building just down there, and also we've got some interesting architecture going on in this street too. But it's a shame about the graffiti. So I've just had it confirmed that this building to my left is indeed the Cathedral of Ourense. I'll turn the camera around here so you can get a look at the magnificent edifice that we have here to my right now. Romanesque style, as we can see, very typical of many cathedrals in this country. And of course, bang smack in the middle of the old town here. If you want to pay and check out the cathedral, you can do that too. You've got a tourist visit there, all of those things that are included. But it's not going to be happening today because it's closed. So I will continue my journey through the old streets of Ourense, and we'll head to another thing that this city is famous for, the thermal hot springs. So let's check that out. Now let's have a look at another angle of the cathedral. I think this is the main entrance. I could be mistaken, but of course look at those steps that are going up there. All of the work that would have gone into those steps. Amazing. And wow. Is it as impressive as other cathedrals that I have seen here in Spain? I don't think so, but an impressive building nonetheless. Another impressive church in front of us there, Parroquia de Santa Eufemia del Centro. Unfortunately, the graffiti artists haven't taken to the walls of the church. Now we'll have a bit of a chat about where Ourense is located here in Spain. As I said, it's in the northwest of the country in the autonomous community of Galicia, a very special area here in Spain that has its own culture, has its own language, things like that. And we're about 5.5 hours away from the capital city, Madrid, by car. There's also a fast train service that will bring you to this city from Madrid, and also well connected to other cities in Galicia is the train system. You can get to Santiago de Compostela, you can get to Vigo, you can get to Pontevedra, other big cities in this autonomous community. The main business activity in this city is services. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. Lots of people working in shops and other businesses like that, services, the tourism industry. The Camino de Santiago passes through here. There's a route that passes through this city on the way to Santiago de Compostela. You probably just saw a couple of pilgrims pass by who are making their way to Santiago. And there's also another route which is called La Ruta de la Plata, or the Silver Route, which passes through this city as well. It's a provincial capital, as I mentioned before, one of 4 provinces here in Galicia. You've got Lugo, you've got Ourense, you've got Pontevedra, and you've also got A Coruña. So 4 provinces here. This is a provincial capital, and it means that there's lots of life, there's lots of services that you can do here. In fact, you can do everything that you need to do in a city like this, a provincial capital, when it comes to doing bureaucratic things, I mean. And when it comes to services, all of the services that you need you can find in a city like this one here. Now we're at another of the main points here in the city, the Plaza Mayor. It would be different in the Galician language, of course, but we've got the council building behind us there, or the town hall, and this is the main square. This would be a hub for locals. They come here in the morning to do their bureaucratic things at the town hall. Then they would go to one of the many bars and restaurants surrounding this area here, have something to eat, and of course in the afternoon or at night time, this Plaza would come to life, of course, because it's called the Plaza Mayor, or the main square, for a reason. And in the local language, Praza Mayor. And that's another thing that I should mention. I think I touched on it briefly, that here in Galicia they have their own language, they have their own culture, so you might have to learn the local language. That is, if you only speak Castilian Spanish. Now you can get by with Castilian Spanish. Everybody here is going to speak Castilian Spanish. Maybe some of the older generations don't, or if you go to some of the villages around here, you won't find people that speak Castilian Spanish. They'll only speak the local language, Gallego or Gallego, but the rest of the population would be bilingual. But if you have kids, so let's say you're planning to move to this city and you have kids, you have to keep in mind that when they get into the education system, they're going to be educated in the Galician language, or at least partly educated in the Galician language. Not a problem for a lot of people, but you have to keep that in mind, that there are 2 languages in this part of Spain. Now when it comes to weather, I also touched on it briefly, that this is green Spain, meaning that it rains quite a lot. The summers can be quite warm and quite humid, a lot of humidity. Yesterday when I arrived in the city, it was around 32 degrees Celsius, but it was very, very humid, and I was sweating like the proverbial pig. So keep that in mind too. The winters here are going to be mild, but they're going to be wet. It's going to rain a lot, but if you want the greenery, that's what you have to expect. And as I said, surrounding the town of Ourense here, there's lots of forest, there's lots of green areas that you can go to if you like hiking, if you like mountain biking, and all of those things. This is a fantastic city. You might get wet doing them, but there's plenty of opportunity to practice sports in this part of the country. And as I said, the weather is reasonably mild. Just in case you guys had forgotten where we are. Now we're going to head to another important thing in this city, the thermal springs, which have been around since the Roman times apparently. So we're going to check those out as well. I've been told that they're just down here, not far away. So we're going to head down there now and try and find these thermal springs. And then we're going to go to the river and see the old bridge. So stay tuned for that. I'm looking forward to it. Don't know about you guys, but I am. All right, check this out. Heading down the hill here, we've got the postal service coming up the hill. I better get out of the way. They're going to run me over. All right, there we go. I have survived. Now, apparently these thermal springs are down here. We'll see in a minute. We've got some impressive garden work going on there, impressive hedges. So we'll see if these thermal springs are here. I think they are. Now I'm not sure exactly what they are, so we're going to find out together. But a very important tourist attraction are these thermal springs. Now I've just had it confirmed by one of the locals that this is the thermal springs area, As Burgas in the local language. We can see it here on the map. That is where we are, As Burgas. We've also got the Mercado de Abastos not far away as well. As I said, the idea is to find our way to the river. Now one of the problems here in Ourense, well not a problem, but there's 4 rivers apparently. We've got a river here which is called the Rio Barbanya, but the river that I'm looking for is called the Minho. Can't see it here on the map, but I'm sure we'll find it. And these are the thermal springs. You can feel the heat coming off the water here. I'm not sure if you can see the heat coming off the water, the vapor or the steam coming off that water, but believe me, that water is hot. And you can get a better look at exactly what is going on here. And as I said, the thermal springs in this city, one of the major draw cards for tourists. That hot water that comes out of the ground, which as I said, has been around for thousands of years. Impressive. Now we're heading into the main market area. If I can get through here, people setting up their stalls. We've got people selling fruit and veg. We've got people selling flowers. We've got people selling clothes. We've got people selling underwear. We've got people selling everything here. Some of the local produce on offer here. And this is where a lot of locals would come to buy the fantastic local produce. A lot of the places are not open yet, but you can get an idea of what would be going on here in a couple of hours' time. People coming to buy their bread, people coming to buy their empanadas, and all of the other things that they need to eat. And I love that these traditional areas are still kept in cities like this one here. Now I'm not going to record too much in the market because people don't like cameras stuck in their face, and a lot of things aren't open at the moment. It's still a bit too early, but you've got an idea of some of the things going on here as far as cuisine is concerned. Galicia is famous for its cheeses, famous for its seafood, famous for its fish, meat dishes as well. This is a food lover's paradise, and don't get me started talking about wine, because wine is also magnificent in this part of the country. It doesn't matter whether it's white wine, red wine, you're going to find fantastic wines here. And when you combine the food with the great wines, you're in heaven. Now it's 8:47 a.m. Not sure if you can see that there. The city is starting to come to life. People have got out of bed. People are going to start their jobs now. A lot of the businesses are not going to open until 10 o'clock, and the city is going to get noisy because traffic is a bit of an issue in this city from what I have seen. Very, very noisy is the traffic here, as in most cities, because the noise reverberates off the buildings on each side of the road. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable, the noise aspect in this city. As far as public transport goes here, buses are about it. Taxis as well, not a lot of other options, I don't think, as far as public transport is concerned. The car is king, of course. There's no bike scheme. It's a little bit hilly, I think, a little bit too hilly, let's say, for bikes, and that's why you won't see anybody riding a bike, or at least I haven't seen anybody on bike. But keeping on the subject of bikes here, as I said, surprised that I haven't seen too many people on bikes. I reckon an electric bike would get you around this city perfectly, but just my opinion. And if you're fit and healthy, you could probably walk to most places, so that's a pro as well. Alrighty, now the next thing, and possibly the last thing that we're going to see in this video, is the river and the old bridge, the Puente Viejo, as it's called in Castilian Spanish, and in the local language, I don't know, but something similar, because I don't speak the local language, but it's just down there. There it is, just down there, you can see people crossing the river. And another characteristic about this city that I have read is that on the other side of the river, it's quite industrial. It's where the train station is, and this side of the river is the more upper class, let's say, the less industrial part of the city. A lot more services on this side, industry on the other side. And we've also got some more thermal springs, as we can see here in that direction. All right, let's head over to that bridge. It's just over there, and we'll get some spectacular views of the city. I reckon some spectacular views of the river too. Let's go. Some more statues. Interesting. All right, so here we are on the old bridge, about to cross the longest river in the autonomous community of Galicia, the Minho River. Let's have a look at it. Absolutely magnificent from what I am seeing here, especially with the sun coming up over the hills over there and a few clouds as well. Wowee. I'll turn the camera around. Check that out. Magnificent. The biggest and most important river in this part of Spain, the Minho. And we're currently walking over the oldest bridge in the city too. Wow, the history that is under my feet. We've got more modern bridges down there, but this is the old one. This is the original bridge. And it's from this magnificent location here on the Minho River that I'm going to wrap this video up and answer a couple of questions. Firstly, should you visit this city if you're coming to Spain? The answer is simply yes. This is a city that you should visit. Of course, it's going to depend on the time of the year. You want to be here in the spring, maybe the summer, maybe the autumn. You don't want to come here in the middle of winter, I don't think, because as I mentioned, it can get pretty wet. But the rest of the year, this is a city that you should be visiting and have on your list, regardless of whether you're doing the Camino de Santiago or not. When it comes to living in a city like this, fantastic quality of life is what I'm going to say. The quality of life that I have experienced here is second to none. It's a small city, it's a provincial capital, you can do everything, so it's a city that you should have on your list if you're planning a move to Spain and you're not sure where you want to live. This could be the city for you, the city of Ourense. The food's fantastic, the people are friendly. What more can I say? Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have been to this city, let me know what you thought of it. If you're planning a visit here, also let me know in that comment section below and add to the conversation. I would love to hear your opinions on anything about Spain, on anything about this city. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a video when I publish it. And we're going to hit 100,000 subscribers soon, so you could be one of those 100,000 people that have subscribed to the channel. Hasta luego from the magnificent city of Ourense.